want to do a quick analysis of my body here today. Things that we're going to be looking for are seeing if my columns are aligned. And so as you can see in this picture here, we want to see a strong base. We want to see our feet pointed forward, inside ankle bones high. Then we want to see our kneecaps level and pointed straight forward. Want to see our hips level and then our shoulders level. Last thing that we want to look at are making sure that the elbow pits are down and pointed forward. And so that's the ideal that we see on this picture here. Let's flip over to my picture, my body, and see how I'm lining up. So the first thing that we're going to do, so we're going to start at the ground. We're going to look at my feet. Are they pointing forward? So looking at my second toe, that's pointed about forward on my right foot, and looking at my left foot, it's pointed forward as well. The next thing that we want to look at is the distance between my feet. It looks like that's about a fist width apart. So that looks pretty great. The next thing is identifying if I'm having proper pressure in my feet. So looking at my right foot, we can see on the ball of the foot that has good pressure on the ground. Looking at my left foot, we can see that there's a bit of an issue of me peeling my foot off the ground to create this fake arch, which means I'm leaking a lot of pressure into the outside edge of my foot. So that's how my feet look. The next things that we want to look at are my ankles. So looking at my right foot again, it looks like my inside ankle bone is high, which suggests that my arch is developed right there. So that right foot's looking really solid. Looking at the left foot, we can see that the inside ankle bone is a bit high, but that's actually a false inside ankle bone high because my arch isn't developed. And to create that fake arch in the left foot, I'm just putting a lot of pressure on the outside edge of the foot there. The next thing that we want to look at are the kneecaps. And so looking at the left kneecap, that points about 90 degrees straight down. So that left kneecap looks straight for the most part. Looking at the right one, it looks like it's pointed straight-ish, maybe a little outward. And looking at the height of them, they're about even. So the knees could use a little work, but nothing too concerning there. The next area that we want to see are the hips. And so I'm going to draw a straight line to see if the hips are level. Doesn't look like it's super level there, but let's look at the shoulders to see if that is in fact off. And as you can see, it looks like that left side is a bit higher. You can see my left trap has a little bit more muscle mass. So there's some compression that I'm dealing with in the system there. The last thing that we want to see are the elbow pits. So you can look at this right elbow and it looks like it's pointed about straight forward, pretty neutral. This left one looks like it's pointed in a little bit. So there's certainly some compression that I need to get out of the system. To confirm that, we want to look at the side angle and see how things are stacking there. So in this picture, this is the ideal. You want to see the ankles aligned with the hips, aligned with your ear. And so we want to see a straight 90-degree line that can go through there. And so looking at myself and my body, we're going to draw that 90-degree line and see how things are shaking out. So as you can see, drawing the lineup from the ankle and hips are relatively aligned, but you can see my head is pointed a little forward. My ear's not quite there. This would suggest that I'm not in the back chain enough, which you can see in that front angle as well, that there needs to be some decompression. So as you can see in this picture, there's a good example of a front chain dominant person versus a back chain dominant person. And since we're forward moving people, we want to have our backside propel us and be the propulsion system moving us forward. Lastly, we want to just confirm with this back view on things that we're seeing in the front view. And so we're going to look at those feet again, and their shoulder width distance apart. The thing that's concerning that I mentioned in the front video is just that ball of the foot peeling off the ground, that false arch. Everything else is looking good up to the hips. We'll draw that line to see if that's coming in neutral. And as we can see, it shows up a bit more in this back angle that the left side is carrying a bit more mass and is just a little bit off. So things I need to work on are decompressing the system. And so what I'm going to focus on is getting back on the ground, doing some child rockers, toe tuck child rockers, doing some hangs, just to decompress myself and give my body the space to move functionally that I need.